Hello and welcome to today's 4Ps podcast. We always expect um, professionals to be professional. We actually put a level of trust and a level of expectancy with people who take care of us. People who handle our food, people who get us from destination to destination. I mean, we have total faith in Uber drivers. We have total faith in taxi cab drivers. We have total faith in people who drive tractor trailers on the interstate back and forth. We have just all this faith. You are supposed to get us to where we need to go. You are supposed to feed us the way we're supposed to be fed without poisonous. You are supposed to do all these things. You're supposed to deliver our items on time and make sure they get there. You are supposed to do this. And the other thing is you're expected to know exactly what's wrong with us when we get sick. And as a result, there's a lot of with that level of expectancies. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of of pressure put on people, especially in the medical field. And some people, when they are in the medical field and they're stressed like that, what they do is they unfortunately they turn to substances to help them, and that is a and when you hear our guest today, that is something that is unfortunately way too common and we don't know. And a lot of times we're going to the doctor and that person is just expect, he or she is could be on a substance. We don't know, and we hope they're not. But it's a level of trust that we're literally putting their life in their hands, but we're also adding a lot of stress to these individuals. Today's guest is not going by their real name. As a matter of fact, you're not even going to see this person, and you're not even going to hear her real voice. We're going to go by her name, Prudence Vector. She's actually coming out with a book, and it's called Heroin. It is a book about her experiences when she went through her dependency issues and then her recovery. And she's going to talk about it. It's something for us to think about, really think about. And maybe it's something for us as people not to get mad, not to get scared, but to offer help to these individuals who have helped us, survive. And we need to do something for them. We will be right back with Prudence right after this.
Your story matters. Your voice deserves to be heard. At DNP, we bring your dream, purpose, and passion to life in print. Whether your manuscript is ready to go or just an idea waiting to unfold, we're here to guide you. With expert editing, stunning graphics, and the knowledge to make your book a reality, we'll help you share it with the world. From book festivals to signings, this is your moment. Let's turn your dream, purpose, and passion into print. Connect with us today and make your dream a reality.
Welcome to this special edition of the 4Ps podcast. Like I said in the very beginning of the podcast, when I do my introduction for my guest today is definitely going to be under a veil of secrecy. And because of the reason why she's under a veil of secrecy is because of the level and the sensitive nature of what we're talking about today. We're talking about something very sensitive. We're talking about something that, to be honest with you, it happens more than we know. It happens more than what we realize. And this individual has come forward to talk about what she had to go through and what she went through and how she recovered from that situation. And I'm going to let you talk. I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about that situation. Her name is and this is going to be the name on her book. This is her pen name. And this is who I'm going to call her on this podcast. It is Prudence Vector. She has the book that is coming out. Matter of fact, you may, even though there's an official release that is going to be on the 27th of this month. We are actually going to be, the book should be out when we release this podcast. So when we release this podcast, you can go on Amazon, you can go on Barnes and Noble, and you can purchase the book. The name of the book is Heroin. And we have the writer of Heroin today. Her name is, again, Prudence Vector. Welcome to the program. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. It's nice to be here. Yeah.
It is great to have you here. First of all, I want to start out again, sensitive nature that what we're talking about today. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah. So basically, I'm in this book discussing my career, my addiction, the process that I went through during my addiction, how I decided to come out of it, what that kind of looked like, and what it looks like on the other side of that. Because, I feel like a lot of healthcare workers don't feel like they can recover from that kind of situation. It's taboo. And so, because of that, a lot of people really just stay in addiction, or they never try to go back to their healthcare career after that. And there is
Hmm.
a lot of judgment in the healthcare industry related to addiction. And so, because of that, I almost didn't recover my life, but I decided that I wasn't going to let those judgments hold me back. And what I realized is that a lot of healthcare workers who have experienced addiction, I hear them say, well, they won't let me. I can't do this now. My career is over. And so I wanted to challenge that with my own life. So
Hmm.
went to the, I went through the process. I went through, the recovery. I went through probation. I went through all of the programs in this, the drug testing, because I wanted to see if I could recover what I had lost, and I actually have recovered more than I lost. I never thought that I would get to the position I am now, especially having issues with addiction and drugs in the past. So it's really scary to even mention it, but I mean, I never thought I would have a DEA license as a nurse practitioner. I thought they would definitely
Right.
never give that to me, but when you reach a level of, I guess, when you show them that you're able,
Hmm.
and you really do make a change, people can see that and they will believe it. You just have to have the courage to step forward and say, I can do this if you will let me.
Absolutely. Now, with and again, we don't want to, as and I'm speaking as a patient, all right. There's two things that we don't want to see. We know it's there, but we just don't want to recognize it. How prevalent, and I'm speaking as now I'm speaking as a patient, someone who goes, obviously to doctors and what have you. Um, how prevalent is addiction in the healthcare industry? If you could share that.
Well, when it comes to like statistics and that, I couldn't really tell you, but when it comes to my experiences with other healthcare workers that I have worked with in the last 20 plus years, there's not a whole lot of
Good.
healthcare workers that don't at least drink alcohol. And
Okay.
that is poison enough. And that is because, we are stretched to the max with um, the 12-hour days plus the limited breaks, the acuity of the patients, meaning how difficult they are to take care of and how much time it takes and what all they have going on, the number of patients that we take, and the pace of the environment. So, and depending on where you are, what facility you work at, you might have only 7 patients, but they're all actively trying to die at the same time. And I'm telling you,
Mm.
this kind of thing happens. Or you could be working in a long term care facility where the other nurse called in and you have 55 patients that you have to pass meds on 3 times in one shift as one nurse. And so
Oh,
they say take a 30-minute break, which that's not even enough for 12 plus hours. But
no.
if you go and do that, there will be hell to pay when you come back. Your patients will not understand. The family members certainly won't understand. And the other healthcare workers that you're working with will typically, they may not say anything, but you can see it on their face. They're upset that you took
Okay.
a break. And it's almost a shameful act. And still to this day, which I mentioned in my book, um, I have shame issues surrounding eating. So I don't even like to sit down when I eat because I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Healthcare
Mm.
has taught me to stand and eat while you go. And that's not even okay. Don't get caught. Don't eat at the nurse's station. Don't have a drink there. Don't eat at the med cart. So basically, you're supposed to be superhuman in all ways. You can't eat, you can't drink, you can't rest, you can't sit. You're not human. And so when that
No.
happens, you're naturally going to seek out relief because that's human nature. You have to have a break, you have to have relief. And so when you're a nurse and you have access to these medications right in front of you that you know relieve pain, anxiety, I know it's super taboo to start talking about it, but I'm telling you, that would be difficult for anyone, I think, under those
Right.
circumstances to not reach in and be like, I'm going to take some of this relief for myself. And I hate that because I don't believe that way now. I never really did believe that way that was okay. But I
Right.
did know that I was suffering so immensely that I had no idea what else to do. And because addiction is so taboo in healthcare, nobody was talking about how to recover, what to do if you have a problem. You don't want to go to your boss and say, "Hey, I have a drug problem and it's coming from here. What are they gonna do? You don't know if you're gonna lose your license, if you're gonna lose your job, your
Right.
livelihood, your career, who you are. These are real.
Mm.
It's very scary. And so I feel like we're put in this in these situations where they, like I said, they just expect you to be a superhero, and you want to be, you try to be, but eventually the human in you comes out.
That is it's a sad. I mean, it really is sad. I I've had, as I get older, you get surgery here, surgery there, procedure here, procedure there. And there's been a couple of times I had to be put under. And I remember, and my mind plays really jacked up tricks on me. When I get on an airplane, I always think that I hope this pilot is in a good mood, all that other stuff. Um, One fear that I actually have, I'm not saying I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm not saying it at all. I'm just saying, is this person that is taking care of me, is this person in their right state of mind? You know, and in certain cases, you're taking anti-anxiety, you're taking performance medications, to help you get through a 12-hour day. Um, there's a good chance that it has interfered with care in the past, hasn't it? I mean, I'm not
Yes,
Using
yours
I don't.
specifically.
You don't have to be afraid to use my example because it's true. It slows your reaction time. It slows your ability to think quickly when you need to be able to think quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it's a rel, it's a rational fear. It's a rational
Mm-hmm.
fear, and I mean, I hope that it doesn't happen as much as we're afraid of, but I'm really not so sure because I'm not, I wasn't really, like, I didn't grow up an addict. I wasn't taught that that was the way to deal with my problems. I mean, there were people around me that drank and had a problem here and there, but so I would hate to see how many people there are like me that really did grow up in a situation like that. I mean, they
Right.
would, you're made, it's a recipe. It's a recipe for an addict to be born. It just,
Mm.
and so, yeah, that's why things need to change because it's not it is about the nurses. I care about the nurses because I am one, um,
Mm-hmm.
and the addict, but the safety of the patient is at risk here. That's the biggest problem because in my heart of hearts, I am a nurse. And because I didn't want to be stressed, I didn't want to be in pain. I didn't want the patient to be able to read on my face, I'm tired and exhausted and starving, and I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't want
Right.
to listen. They don't, that's not what they need because, so also something that I heard a manager say years ago that really stuck with me like throughout my entire life is like, so as a nurse you might be having a terrible day, it might be the worst day that you ever had working on the floor as a nurse, but often you are present for the very worst day of somebody else's life.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if you have the heart of a nurse, you don't want your patients to think that you have any problems. That you don't want them to read your emotions on your face. We want to be a Florence Nightingale. I want to float in and out of rooms with a smile on my face and a comforting spirit and nothing but love for them and for the families, and to be able to communicate, with ease. Because that's basically what a nurse does, is we communicate all this information between patient, family, doctor, social worker. We have to be that advocate that communicates all the information that comes in and out of a patient situation. And so when we are impaired and when we are not cared for, that becomes a problem, because we are ignoring basically Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is what we learn in school that we are supposed to provide care by, but we don't do the same thing or provide the same thing for ourselves or each other.
Wow. So now, going back to, you revolt, you I don't want to say you blame addiction on the stress of the hard work hours and the demands of the job. We are, healthcare. Now, this is a podcast that's listened to worldwide. So the healthcare that I'm talking about here is healthcare in the United States. It's not healthcare anywhere else. I'm using the United States model of healthcare right now as the basis of how I'm asking my question. It may be like this in Canada, Australia, or UK, but this is what I'm using. So what can be done to limit, or at least, I don't want to say limit, because it's not, you're not really going to limit it, but how can you reduce the stress? How can you reduce the stress? I mean, I know that right now, I mean, healthcare is a business. Okay. So the hospital, and they need to make money. Healthcare is a business. And we know that the insurance companies, they need to stay and keep in the black. Healthcare is a business. We know that, as far as the pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that, they need to keep on making the money that they need to make. So with all of that being said, the people who suffer the most, and I will say this, the people who suffer the most are the people on the front lines. And that's the nurses, that's the nurses' aides, that's the doctors, all that other stuff. How can we
Right.
fix this?
So that's a that's a big question. So one of the things that I can think of first of all is to stop with the 12-hour shifts. I know a lot of people, even nurses will say, no, never. I want my 12-hour shifts so I can be off 4 days. And that may be true. But the amount of fatigue that you experience in that amount of time and the lack of breaks that you have doesn't make for good patient care.
Right.
And that's ultimately why we're there. So the long shifts with that level of stress, I don't think should be a thing. The breaks should be mandated and manned by whoever. It doesn't. I want to say now management, right? There should always be a manager on duty, and if for no other reason than to take the place of the worker who needs to take a break, especially the nurses, if there's only one or two. I'm thinking of a long-term care facility type situation when I mention this, because there may be only one or two nurses. And so it's harder to cover for each other in that way. Now, the CNAs, there's often more of them, so they can kind of cover for each other when they take breaks and that. Not always. My daughter's a CNA, and it's not always that way. I know. This is across the board, these problems for, like you said, the frontline workers. The culture needs to change in nursing. I've never been one for politics. So, the only way I know that we can change the culture is by speaking up. And so the best way that I could think of that isn't political for me to help make that change is to advocate for it myself and get rid of the fear related to the situation, and have courage to write the books about the experiences and what I actually think. I used to always leave my opinion out of things. But there came a point where I realized that I have so many experiences that my opinion does matter. And then,
Absolutely.
yeah, and then also finding a way, finding what your passion is, because I love to teach. I love to teach. And so when you find your passion and you go in and um, you do what your passion is by teaching. So for me, teaching at the university that I went to, or the school that I went to, teaching those students fulfills me. And what I am able to do is I'm able to basically be their nursing mother, and I get to
Beautiful.
instill in them from the beginning, you matter, self-care matters, take your breaks, whatever it is you have to do, because if you don't love yourself, you cannot love anybody else.
That is so true. That is very true. It's and I hear this a lot. Put your mask on first. You know, when you're in an airplane, and which as much as I've been flying lately, I don't like using that analogy anymore. But still, put your mask on first. You know, in the case of lost oxygen. Um, I'm going to ask you two more questions. This is my second to last question. You are a nurse. You are a recovered addict, and you are now in front of and have access to the same drugs that may have led you to addiction in the first place. Okay? My
Yes.
question to you is, and I know that you are a strong person, that's not what I'm saying. How do you, because this is something where, like you said, this is prevalent. Not only this is, you're not the only one. As a matter of fact, you are probably, and I hate to say this, you're probably in close to the majority.
Right.
Okay. And so with that being said, how do you, and what advice can you give to someone who has recovered, who is still around the things that tempted them in the first place? Now, the thing is the only thing that's changed, and this is why I'm saying this, the only thing that's changed is the fact that you're a recovering addict. You're not an addict anymore.
Right.
Okay. So the only thing but everything else is the same. 12-hour shifts are still there. The access to drugs are still there. The environment's still there. The culture's still there. How do you avoid not falling into that trap again?
Right. So there's several different things that you have to do. First, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot abandon yourself. So what I mean by that is you have to find the program that works for you. You have to. I don't mean, I'm not labeling any particular program, but what I mean is there
Okay.
needs to be a set of things that you do to make sure that you can maintain your sanity. For instance, for me, the things that I do to maintain my recovery is first of all, I'm on a medication called naltrexone that blocks a majority of those receptor sites for the types of drugs that I used. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's medication assisted treatment,
Good.
which I'm looking into and doing myself for others. And then, you need to find what meetings, whether it's Celebrate Recovery or if it's AA or NA or whatever group it is that you identify with. You have to stay in communication and connection with the people that understand what you're going through, so you can talk about these things
Mm-hmm.
together.
Okay.
Um, Also, making sure that you exercise, get enough sleep, make sure you have proper nutrition, that you have a hobby. You need to make time for your family. I mean, these things sound very simple, but for nurses, for some reason, we abandon these things a lot
Right.
because we will work our 12-hour shifts. Then we're exhausted and we sleep for 2 days. And then by the time we're awake, we don't want to spend any time with anybody. We want it to be quiet and we just want to sit and watch TV and do nothing. And
Okay.
then the whole anxiety cycle starts again when you're about to start another, 2 or 3 12-hour shifts coming up, depending on where you work. The level of anxiety you experience is different. But um, so, and like I said, you're going to have a higher power, whatever that is for you. I mean, I've been through recovery programs, and I'll never forget. this one girl, and it kind of, I mean, it was humorous to me at the time, but not everybody's going to have the same higher power. And I remember this girl in a meeting saying, at one point, Gucci Mane was my higher power. And I remember thinking that was, I just, you know what I mean? I couldn't. But the thing is I didn't have to understand her recovery. She was in recovery and had been in recovery longer than me, and her higher power wasn't Gucci Mane anymore. But what I'm saying is that, my higher power isn't the same as everybody else's higher power, but I do need to believe in who that is and practice it in my day-to-day life.
Right. I hate to say this, but I'm thinking, how can you practice like Gucci Mane? It's almost like there was I digress big time, but there was a Family Guy episode where Peter created Church of the Fonzie, and it was the Fonzie, and Fonzie was like the ultimate power. And so when you said that, that's the first thing that came to my mind and it's funny that we're talking about something so serious that we ended up talking about a Family Guy, which is not serious in any way, shape, or form. And
Well, that's another thing. I'm sorry. I do need to
that's
mention
okay.
this. Humor is so important. It is so important because with a serious career like nursing and the healthcare field, medical, you have to learn how to laugh. You have to. You got to unplug from what you're doing. You have to learn to find humor in it all and just understand that this too shall pass. A lot of people grab these things and hold on to them and tight. And, you got to loosen up a little bit.
Some of the funniest people I've ever met in my life are nurses or in the military, and their humor is like not humor that you would share with mom.
Right.
Okay, I just want to say that is some of their humor. I will laugh until I cry, but I know it's the type of humor that I can never go back and tell my mother the same joke. You guys have some dark humor, and what makes it funny is that I laugh at it, so maybe I have dark humor as well. For those out there, now I know I want everybody to buy the book Heroin. I really do. It is a phenomenal book. I will tell you this right now. One of the privileges of having this podcast and having podcast guests is I get to read it before anybody else does. And it's an outstanding, it is a book that when I read, it made me think a lot. All right. It made me think a lot. So, and it's going to make you think too. And Prudence, you put this, the way you laid it out on the table. It's extremely powerful. It really is. For lack of any other better word, it was a powerful book. It is a serious topic. It is something that we go in. It's funny as customers of healthcare, we go into the doctor or something like that, and we just automatically think that you guys are on top of your game. But you are absolutely human. And there are things that you guys do that again, you go through the same thing I go through and what anybody else goes through. The other thing that gets me about your situation is the fact that you're talking about 12-hour shifts. I know that if I go 12 hours, I'm jacked up. I mean, you drive or something like that, you get fatigued, all this other stuff. One thing that I really want you to, and I went off on a tangent, I'm coming right back now. One thing that you, if you could leave to someone that is in your profession right now, that is at the part where they are seeking help, what would you say to them right now?
You're going to have to let go of that fear of judgment and the taboo. It is scary. The unknown is what's scary. But I can tell you that the unknown is better than the known, because if you continue in what you're doing now, the known is you will lose your career. You will be an addict. People will lose respect for you. It'll stay that way. And you may lose your life. Yeah. So that is what I do know. So yeah, holding on to that addiction is what's going to lead to death, not revealing it and asking for help. I was afraid
Absolutely.
too. And there were people that judged me, but there were also people that came alongside me and helped me to heal. And it's funny that we talk about this now because actually my mentor that did that for me just died a few days ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she passed the torch to me. I remember feeling like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to step into this role in life with her still out here, because she's amazing, or she was amazing, you know. She just ran the race, you know, and I'm gonna miss her. But like I said, what I felt like happened was when she passed, she's depending on me now to keep her legacy alive by um, living out those things that she taught me. And yeah, so you just, and
Yeah.
that's something that I want to be an advocate for the people that don't know who to ask or who to talk to. So that's why I'm really coming out, so that people can get in contact with me, and I can, you know, help lead you in the right direction for the right resources
Absolutely.
for you and your situation.
You are going to see a lot about Prudence. She has a Facebook page. You can pull her up on. You can find her on Facebook. Again, her name is Prudence Vector. I will have the link in the podcast notes. Also, you will her book Heroin coming out. It will be out. Matter of fact, like I said, I know that the release is on the 27th of September. But you will probably be able to go right now and go to her book. You can get her Kindle. You can get her paperback as well on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, and you will be hearing a lot from her. She is going to be a strong advocate for people to get help. She's also going to be bringing awareness to this very important topic. Addiction in the healthcare industry is prevalent, and it is dangerous not only to the addicts themselves but to the people who are treated by them. First of all, thank you very much for being on the program, Prudence. We'll be right back right after this.
The 4Ps of You, Expanded Edition by Trunnis Goggins, is a powerful guide to personal growth built on 4 foundational principles: purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. In this expanded edition, Goggins shares real stories of trials and tribulations, his own and those of others, to inspire readers to reflect, reset, and rise. With added insights and practical exercises, this book empowers you to navigate life's challenges, unlock your potential, and live with greater intention and impact. The 4Ps of You is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to the 4Ps podcast. You know, I always say I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I always say that. I hope you enjoyed the interview. This one, I hope you think about this interview. All right. I also hope that you get the book. All right. You need to read the book. You need to read what she went through, because I'm going to tell you right now, what Prudence went through is what so many people are going through right now. And the stress that they're going through, the things that they're going through, and the things that are happening in the medical field, all right, are something that need to be done. Years ago, I had a it was a neighbor. I'm trying to say this in the best way possible because I don't want to say anything. But I had a neighbor in a neighborhood I lived in who worked for a pharmaceutical company, a very large pharmaceutical company. He um, he was addicted to drugs. Okay, it was almost like a Breaking Bad scenario, to be honest with you. He was very addicted, and when he got found out through his pharmaceutical company, the pharmaceutical company tried to help him, and when that help and that rehabilitation did not work, they ended up firing him. Now he had a lot of obligations, you know, and so with those obligations, he needed to make money, and he went from making pharmaceuticals legally to making pharmaceuticals illegally. I don't know what happened to the guy. I really don't. I do know that he was eventually they had foreclosure. They did a foreclosure on his house, and I never saw him again. And this was eons ago. But the thing is if you think about it, I want you to think about it for a quick second. This guy was a pharmacist for a large pharmaceutical company who made what? Pharmaceuticals. Could you imagine? We can't even drive a car if we're intoxicated. This individual was making medicines to save your life while a good chance, well, he was intoxicated. So we are, again, and I don't mean to say this to sound messed up, or I'm not saying this to scare you. I mean, honestly, these individuals, they need to be, we need to show them a little bit of mercy. We need to, make sure that they are being helped in every way, shape, or form, because again, we need medical professionals, but we also need to find a balance to make sure that they are not, we give them the help they need so they do not fall into, they don't fall into the despair that they fall into. Again, Prudence definitely gave us something to think about, and I want you to think about it, and I want you to, don't be afraid. I mean, I mean, just don't be afraid, but also, offer a helping hand. The next time you're at the doctor, be nice to them, be kind to them. Don't add additional stress, because I'm going to tell you, they are there. They're in that profession to help people. They really are. And when they get that stress, they already get enough stress and enough demands based on the schedules. I mean, 12 hours here, 12 hours there, and we expect them. I mean, think about it. If you always worked 12 hours and you were always on your feet, you were ashamed to take a break, you were all these other things. I mean, imagine what you're going to do. You are going to try to do things to improve your performance. And those things to improve your performance probably aren't the right things to do. Because again, you are a human being. And being a human being, you need to get the proper amount of rest and things like that. You just can't go into, especially something like that, fatigued. You are trying to help somebody out. I mean, think about when you drive when you're fatigued. Is anybody, I know you're probably listening to this right now, and I hope you're not doing this, but I mean, I know I've driven a couple times and I'm doing this, trying to keep my eyes open and stuff. I'm so glad for lane assist, because it jerk. I have a Nissan Rogue, and that thing will jerk you if you go out. I mean, like literally jerk you. You will wake up if you fell asleep in that car, but you just don't want to do that. You just don't. So you just want to, now just think about doctors, and think about what they're going through. Think about nurses and what they're going through. Think about all the other medical staff and what they're going through. And they are doing this totally fatigued, but your life is in their hands. Your life is in their hands. So again, be mindful of this. There has to be something that we have to be mindful of, and there has to be something that we can do to help them. Again, do I know the answer to that today? No, I don't. But I do. I do know that this is something that has to be recognized, has to be something that has to be addressed, and it has to be something that we can, help our medical care workers get through at every level. Help them get through it, because our population's growing. Our level of maladies are the different maladies are getting more complex, and so yeah, we want to help them out. Next week, we'll be back with a great individual. Alex Simon is her name. She deals with something called mental mixology. That's her organization that she has. This is a young woman who is outstanding. She's a great interview. She has a podcast herself, and I'm going to tell you, if she could be, she could host her own like television show. She's just outstanding. She really is. She's great. We'll be back with her next week. Buy the book. The book, again, it's called Heroin. It's by Prudence Vector. It does come out this week. A matter of fact, it will probably be live. This is Tuesday, so it will probably be live, probably Wednesday, Thursday of this week, but definitely Saturday. It will be out, and it will be out for you to get. Buy it, read it. It's shocking. That's all I can say. It is shocking. We will talk to you next week. You have a great, great day. Oh, also, while you're buying books, make sure we just released Stories of Transgression and Recovery. This is Recovery Month. Some of the portion of the proceeds will go out to help rehab centers throughout the world. And please make sure you go out and get it. The authors that are in this book are just outstanding individuals. They'll bring a tear to your eye. I love each and every one of them. They're wonderful. Please make sure you get it. Again, it's called Stories of Recovery. And you know what? This is the 4Ps podcast. And make sure you get the book. I'm pointing behind me for those of you who are watching on YouTube. Right there, that ugly guy right there in the middle with a really cool cover, though. I love the cover. The 4Ps of You. Make sure you can get that on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can get it anywhere you need, anywhere you buy books. And please get that. I know that this week I'll be in Toronto. I'll be in Buffalo. Also, I cannot wait to go home. I'll be at Rust Belt Books on Friday. I'll be at Rust Belt Books with some great people, and so I definitely want you to be there if you can. If you're in the Buffalo area, please come see me. Talk to you soon. Have a great night. Bye bye.